Stop doing these 8 things to become a millionaire as quickly as possible. There's 2 main ways that you are losing money. Losses of omission, which means stuff that you're not yet doing that you need to be doing, and losses of commission, which means these are things you're doing that are wrong and you have to stop them as soon as possible to become a millionaire. First, let's go over the losses of commission, which is doing bad things. Number 1, depreciation. This affects almost everything that we buy. Cars are the obvious choice, but our consumption of smaller items is actually a much bigger hit to our finances because we don't pay attention to it. And those kinds of things become almost worthless the instant we buy them. Think about anything from electronics to clothes to things that we hang up on the wall like a TV or an art piece or anything else. Almost everything that we buy is worth a tiny fraction of what we paid for it right off the bat. The best way to combat this first one is really just to think before you buy. Make sure that something that you're buying is worth buying and then losing the value of that whole entire thing right away. The second loss by commission, by doing a bad thing, is cash. Specifically, keeping a lot of cash in savings with inflation rates at all-time highs. You aren't keeping your money safe by doing this, you are losing it rapidly. The way to get around this, the way to solve this problem is the 5th step in this video, which is the first loss of omission, which I'll talk about in about a minute and a half. Number 3, buying lottery tickets, going to casinos, sports betting, any kind of gambling, all that jazz. This is not the best way to make it out of your situation and graduate into a better one. This is throwing money away. It's burning cash. The odds of you winning are so tiny, you may as well be throwing money in the toilet. Stop today. Instead, keep that money. Even if it's just a few bucks here and there, even if you only buy 1 lottery ticket per week, if you keep it and start doing the things I mentioned in steps 5 through 9, then you're gonna end up building a lot more wealth than if you just throw it away. Step 4, the final loss by commission, is continuing to rack up debt, specifically high interest debt. Living minimum payments at a time is just eating away at your ability to build wealth and to have more money. Times can get really tough financially, especially now when the price of everything is going up. Our wages aren't necessarily keeping up with that. And so it makes the cost of just being alive today a lot more expensive than it was a few years ago. And in response to that, a lot of people have been getting a lot more credit card debt, especially young people. And that's a really dangerous thing. Just because most people are carrying credit card debt for their whole lives doesn't mean that this is right, doesn't mean that this is helping you, doesn't mean this is acceptable. We've got to stop this trend. We've got to replace this cycle of leaning on credit cards to kind of cover those kinds of gaps in life with an emergency fund. When my air conditioner broke in this house, I sat in this chair and made a specific video just for you if you want to know more about emergency funds. So check that out because I have it linked in the description so you can find it really easily. The second set of ways that you're losing money, things that are holding you back from becoming a millionaire, are losses of omission, which is things that you're not doing that you should be doing. The first one is not investing. And that's what I recommend you do if you're that person from step number 2 who has cash, who has a lot of money stuffed literally physically in cash, like you have it in your house somewhere, you have cash, or if you just have cash in the form of money in a savings account or a checking account and it's just sitting there. It's not working for you. It's not growing and multiplying and having little money babies for you. Saving cash will get you nowhere. In fact, because of inflation, you're going backwards. The cash just doesn't grow fast enough. Even with rising interest rates, it's not growing fast enough. 2% or 2.5% isn't enough for you to build wealth. And I understand that investing is scary. You hear about people losing money investing. It's really confusing. There's a lot of words you have to learn and understand to invest well. I get that. But what I think we really have to drill home to ourselves whenever we feel that fear is realize how much money we're giving up when we're not investing. Unless you're some kind of math nerd, you just don't naturally get how powerful compound interest is, and neither do I. In fact, I think every week I get on an investment calculator and have to plug things in because I just don't feel it. I can't mentally just put those things together and understand why I should be investing or how much it's going to change if I don't do this or if I do that. And so I end up on a calculator like this one to try and figure out what the difference will be. Should I buy the more expensive thing or not? Should I save this money? Should I invest it? Should we pay down our mortgage or should we go ahead and invest the money? Let's just do an example. Let's say you start with $500 and you're going to invest for the next 20 years. You're going to get an 8% interest rate and you're going to put in an extra $100 a month. Now, $100 a month doesn't go very far in today's day and age, but that might have been money that you were saving for a rainy day, saving for retirement, saving for whatever, because you're a logical person and you have some self-discipline. That's the first step to become a millionaire. Now, even just investing that small amount, which is a relatively small amount, you'd end up with $60,000 in the end. Now, you started with 500, you put in $100 a month, so your total contributions were only 24,000 of that. You end up with $60,000. So you got an extra 35 grand for investing it. versus saving it, even if you got a pretty decent interest rate at 2%, you'd only have $30,000. So you're missing out on an extra $30,000 over the course of 20 years by not investing. These numbers only grow if you do it for longer periods of time or more amounts of money. Those figures that you're missing out on are just massive. Okay, I've ranted on enough for that. Let's move on to the next one. The next mistake of omission is not taking a 401k match. Do you know that most people, whenever they have to choose whether or not they want free money, they choose not to take free money? That's what we're doing with our 401k when we're either not enrolling in it or we're not contributing enough money to get the free match. Are we all crazy? What's going on here? I don't actually know the psychology behind it besides the same kind of fears of investing, that it's confusing, it's complicated, I don't understand what that means. And so we just sort of shut down and we opt out and we say, I'll just keep the money. Never mind. Lately, people have started getting mandatorily enrolled in their 401k to where you actually have to opt out. Like your baseline is being opted into it by doing it. And if you want to, you'd have to tell somebody, hey, I want to stop. And that's creating a lot more investors. A 401k match is just where you're investing in an employer-sponsored retirement account. This is an account where the money gets invested. It's tied to your job, but because your employer is nice and they want you to have money for retirement, they want you to stay working for them up to a certain amount of money, they will match that dollar for dollar. So a lot of times it's up to between 3 and 6% of your salary, that if you're investing that amount, then your employer will say, okay, Sally, you put in 5%, we'll put in 5% too. What that's doing is giving you an instant bonus. It's giving you an immediate 100% return on your money. This is one of the hugest, easiest ways for you to make more money, and we're missing out on it. But now that you've seen this video, you're not gonna miss out on it anymore. You're gonna talk to an HR person, you're gonna make it happen, and you're gonna get rich. Way to go. The next thing that we don't do that we should be doing is not learning about personal finance. Now you're here, you're watching this video, and so you're taking steps in the right direction. But those other people out there that aren't watching this video with you right now are missing out. I wish that we were taught more in school. I wish that there was a typical curriculum that we actually learned useful things, how to do your taxes, how to invest, like what these different things mean, because that would help us all a lot more. But things are the way they are. All we can do is take control of our own lives and learn what we need to learn to be successful. I'm guessing that there are some reasons why we don't seek this out. Part of it is that it's boring, and part of it is that depending on who you talk to, you get a lot of very different recommendations as far as how to handle your money. There's also a lot of scammers. Scammers are everywhere, especially when it comes to the world of crypto and investing and blockchain and NFTs and a lot of these new technologies. Wow, lots of scammers. Plus, there are things out there that seem like a really good idea, like investing with a professional despite their super high fees, or things like whole life insurance because, hey, it sounds really good on the surface. Whenever we come to find out after doing research, wow, that's actually going to cost us a lot of money in opportunity cost over the long term. Had I just invested that money in an index fund on my own, or had I just bought term life insurance, I would end up with a ton more money in the end. But that's just like life in general. That's what it means to grow up and be an adult, is to be aware of these things that are counterintuitive, or to be aware of these people that are out there trying to take advantage of you. What we need to do is stay on the logical, paved trail of things that work for 99% of people and don't try and be the 1%, instead of going out there and trying to blaze some new trail and make 50% gains per year and do some really silly things. Index fund investing, dollar cost averaging, using tax advantage accounts, all of these things are really the recommended method for all of us, and it's for a reason. The final thing that we're not doing that we need to be doing is not automating our bill pay or our automatic transfers. Hey Google, pay my bills. Hey Alexa, do all my money stuff for me. She's not helpful. Alexa, stop. I think this one is so basic that people end up overlooking it, but it's got a lot of big benefits. For one, you never forget anything. You're never late on a bill. You never forget to invest that money. You never have to do the mental stimulating exercise to choose to invest or to pay the bill. It's just happening for you. And knowing that you're never going to miss a bill, or knowing that you're always going to be investing money, regardless of whether you feel like it or not, regardless of whether you remember or not, it gives you some peace of mind. And the alternative is pretty sucky, because what if you forgot to invest for a few months and then you missed out on all those gains that you'd get for the next few decades? What if you forgot to pay some bills, then it hurts your credit, then when you go to buy a car or a house or something, then you're paying a lot more in those fees because your credit looks bad. All those things suck. So you got to do these 8 things to make sure that you become a millionaire as fast as possible. Don't do the bad things, start doing the good things, and watch all my videos if you want to know more about that. Hey, the secret comment for today is octopus, because I gave you 8 tips, and octopi have 8 tentacles.